Hey guys, excited to have a chat with you today because you're both about to be elevated to what we call the tier three on the lead professional scale. You can't take a test for it, it's very selective. I'm really proud of both of you guys because you're about to be named a lead fellow. They let me in the club in 2020 for some reason, and I'm really happy to see both of you guys going to be named lead fellows. So let's talk about it, Nick. Let's talk about it, Asa. There's 202,000 lead professionals over the last 20 years in this industry, in this green building movement. But lead fellow, out of that 202,000, there's only about 360 in the whole world. And one of the requirements is you have to have been a lead professional advocating for green buildings for 10 years to even be eligible. And you guys have done all of that and more. So just 360 lead fellows in the world, and now you're in that club. So just want to ask you some questions. First, I want to say congrats, and I'm proud of you. And let's just start with, what's really kind of inspired you guys, though, to even get into sustainability or green buildings?
Yeah, first of all, great to be here, Charlie. I know this is a career achievement and really proud to be here with Asa and you as well. And huge honor to be named a lead fellow. I think what really inspired me growing up in Greece, I was born and raised there, and just experiencing nature all around me in such abundance made me really appreciate the environment. The things that I took for granted, such as local farmers markets or solar thermal heating or white roofs on the Greek islands, blue flag beaches. Really, it's a product of a huge kind of cultural upbringing that's rooted in the appreciation of nature. And I think that's really what kind of kickstarted my passion for sustainability, nature, the environment. And that really expanded as I started to travel the world and appreciate different cultures, because every culture had a different appreciation for nature and the environment as well. So I kind of picked up things along the way.
In those roots. Asa, how about you? Sustainability, how'd you get into it? What kind of inspired you? And then tell us even, Asa, when did you get your first lead credential?
For sure. Yeah. Firstly, thank you for having me here. Again, Nick, super congratulations to you. Just an awesome career milestone. Cool to reach this point. Similar to Nick, I grew up in South Georgia, near Savannah. I was a pretty outdoorsy kid, played a lot of sports, just spent tons of time outside in a climate that allowed for that. I did a lot of hiking with my uncle and just sort of being around nature a lot. I have an environmental science degree from Emory University, and I did some wildlife research when I was an undergrad. And at that time, it was late, say 2007, 2008. Sustainability was a buzzword. It wasn't necessarily a full-blown career path. Green buildings were around, but not to the level that they are now. And I was doing some wildlife research as an undergrad and kept running into all of these issues of what humans were doing and the actual impact that it was having on the ecosystem. So that was really my first foray into how design and buildings can affect a natural environment and affect a natural ecosystem. And it sort of got me on this path of, well, can't we do this better? Surely there's a way to do this better. And so that's how I found this path and dedicated my career to it. Yeah, I earned my first lead credential all the way back in 2008. It was back when it was the original lead legacy AP. There weren't any additional exams. You were just a lead AP or nothing. So first credential all the way back in 2008. I've been in the industry since.
Love it. All right, so that gives us a little origin, a little early inspiration, guys. But let's talk about projects. It's hard to pick just one. So, what's a project you're particularly proud of? I know both of your careers well. I just have a blast working with both of you guys. And I know sometimes you work on a 65-story skyscraper or a new school in a community. And so, what's a project you're really proud of that maybe there was some extra sustainability impact?
I think a project that really defined my early career and that I'm very proud of to this day, because we've really helped it achieve multiple certifications over time, is One Market Plaza. It was one of my first projects with SIG in San Francisco. 1.8 million square feet, dual towers, Class A office building with restaurants and retail, located in the iconic Embarcadero, right across from the ferry building. I really spent over 60 hours, if I recall, on site doing full retro commissioning. Very complex systems, chill water plants, more than 30 air handlers all across the towers, full testing of each piece of equipment, and then also going through a full ASHRAE Level 2 energy audit, did a complete critical zone walkthrough for IQB1, and all the lead documentation that comes with a lead certification. So we were able to recertified the building through the LEED O&M rating system, Platinum, which was really exciting in 2016, and we had upgraded it from Gold from the initial certification. And then having worked with just the exceptional property management team there and facility operations team, we were able to continue to work with them throughout the years, all the way up to just last year, where we recertified again Platinum, but now through the V4.1 rating system. So that was really exciting. One of the projects I would say I'm the most proud of, and it's one of the projects that we've maintained over time and really had a big impact on the local community. I think it's the largest LEED O&M Platinum building in San Francisco and one of like the top 15 in the world just by size. So really, really proud of that project and the team that I work with.
Love that project. Asa, how about you? What's a project that you're real proud of? I know you've worked on a lot of them, and where it maybe had that extra sustainability impact.
Sure. Yeah. So, having led LEED certification efforts for probably 220 projects and 70 million square feet, there's no way I'm going to be able to pick just one. So I have three. So my favorite one probably is the New Orleans Jazz Market, the home of the New Orleans Jazz Orchestra in Center City in New Orleans. Just from a sustainability perspective and history, the site goes all the way back to 1848. It was an outdoor meat market. The site took a number of different forms over many years, and the current state of the project, we worked on this project in I think it was around 2015. It was a former dollar store sort of cinder block building. That's the site that they found it in as part of this project. And it was renovated, major renovation, turned into now the home of the New Orleans Jazz Orchestra. Just a really cool revitalization project in an area in New Orleans that had come through some hard times post Hurricane Katrina. So really helped to revitalize that neighborhood. Also a LEED Gold certified building. And so really implemented a lot of sustainability metrics, including a lot of reused and salvaged material inside the actual concert hall. So just a really cool project, and one that I go back to a lot and think about a lot. It's also just a beautiful place to see a concert. Another one would be the Georgia World Congress Center in Atlanta. That's the site of Greenbuild 2019. We've done 3 different LEED certifications there. At the time when it was certified initially, it was the largest LEED certified building that year, and at the time was the 14th largest LEED certified building ever, 3.92 million square feet. So just really cool to be able to apply LEED to, a small project like the New Orleans Jazz Market, around 15,000 square feet, all the way up to, an almost 4 million square foot convention center. We've also certified Target Field, which is the home of the Minnesota Twins baseball team. As a big baseball fan, it was sort of another career milestone to be able to work at a Major League Baseball stadium and apply some of these metrics and sustainability practices to a facility like that.
Let's shift gears. Both of you now are also in a business development role. While you still get to work on some projects, you get to problem solve and guide and influence ESG strategy, also engaging with clients. So if we take a look at client engagement, what are some of the misconceptions that are still out there, maybe when it comes to LEED or a sustainable building?
A key misconception, I would say, is that there's only one path to sustainability, right? And every building is different, and you must understand its history and unique characteristics to really address a potential path towards decarbonization. So understanding the financial impacts, the life cycle of equipment and materials, but also just the intangible experience that occupants are having in the building is equally important, right? So I think these are the concepts that carry over into development of new assets as well. And as with anything, you are limited by your local resources and the function of the building that's intended for that specific industry. So although there are some really exciting concepts that we're talking about now and really promoting, like regenerative design as being an ideal outlook, not every existing building has that potential because they might be in an urban environment, they might be in a major city like New York, and there isn't that opportunity to take advantage of a lot of those features. So it is our job, as sustainability consultants, to do that work with our clients and find the best outcome for their specific challenge.
Asa, how about you? What are you still seeing out there in the marketplace? Some additional misconceptions?
Yeah, I have an interesting take on this. I've done some work over the last probably 2 years now with a committee of folks as part of the USGBC West North Central region. That's sort of the upper Midwest. We have a LEED advancement committee, and we've specifically been looking at common misconceptions around LEED. We've done a video series on YouTube on the USGBC West North Central channel. We've even done a couple of panel presentations on this. So we've been tackling a lot of these myths and misconceptions, sort of debunking a lot of these myths over the last several years. Things like how a lot of people think LEED is design driven, or maybe it's too rigid, or it's only a coastal thing. It only shows up in New York and San Francisco. LEED takes too much time, or that we've even debunked how a lot of people think LEED is only about earning a point for bike racks. I particularly like the misconception that LEED costs too much. There's a whole lot of emphasis on and studies about the cost of green building and what premiums exist through LEED and green building projects, and just doesn't hold any water anymore. It's a first cost versus operational and ROI conversation. I like to equate it to where we are with LED lighting now. If everybody remembers maybe 10 years ago what an LED light bulb cost when you went to a home improvement store to buy one versus now. It makes so much sense. Why would you ever buy anything that's not an LED bulb? The value that a sustainability metric like a LEED certification applies to a building inherently is going to give it a bigger return and better ROI. Cushman Wakefield did a study a number of years ago called Green is Good that, put some dollars and metrics towards what the actual ROI improvement of a LEED certification versus a non-LEED certified building was. LEED buildings were averaging a 25.3% increase in price per square foot over their non-LEED counterparts. Same exact kind of building, but just that certification and the sustainability metrics provided that added value. So that sort of LEED costs too much myth just doesn't hold any water anymore. Same goes with the ESG investment world. I think the statistic is around 80% of investors intend to incorporate some sort of ESG strategy into their overall investment strategy by 2030. So it is going to be part of an investor strategy, and the upfront costs, if there are any, are vastly outweighed by the value that sustainability certification provides.
That's a good point. Do you have a project that maybe you really definitively could measure an ROI on the sustainability, the LEED, or the ESG work?
Yeah, for sure. I had a project. It was a multifamily project in Rochester, Minnesota. They're in a 13-story market rate apartment building that their investor decided that sustainability was really important and they wanted to pursue LEED certification. It was the first time that this particular developer had ever pursued LEED on a project. It was just a really great project from start to finish. Our firm provided the LEED consulting, commissioning, and energy modeling for the project. It ended up being somewhere around 31% more efficient than Energy Code. Water savings was more than 30%. They save about 62,000 gallons of water annually. But the most important part about this project is that the final sale price, when the developer ended up selling the building a few years after it was done, sold for $187 million, which equates to somewhere around $536,000 per unit. It was the highest sale price for a multifamily building in the history of the state. So it was a clear indication that the investment community and the buyer was really interested in these sustainability metrics, and that LEED certification led directly to that significant ROI.
Thank you for that. Nick, let's talk innovation. I know this is something you really enjoy reading up on and just also thinking about the future, but how about some current innovation? Like, what are you seeing out there in the marketplace?
Yeah, I think a lot might say it's artificial intelligence. Everyone wants to talk about AI, but I think when you talk about our industry and just prop tech in general, it really lags the overall technology advancement worldwide. So there's a lot of things that are happening bleeding edge across the board that might not be applicable today to what we do. So I would say the cutting edge for the built environment is really augmented reality, 3D capturing of environments. And those are two technologies that you can really apply to a variety of functions, right? It could be facility management, training, preventive maintenance, ongoing commissioning, site visits. So I think that's really going to be the emerging technology everyone should be looking into and trying to apply in their business. And that starts the conversation around, digital twins, right? Everyone has a different definition for that term. It has a wide spectrum, but really the concept of digitizing a building design at every phase of a project, from schematic design all the way through operations, is really what's changing the industry. We can now design buildings and develop virtual twins that can be used later to operate those same buildings after construction. That's really exciting. To me, it's part of the reason, Charlie, we co-founded Atos a few years ago, and I think something that the world is really ready for. It's how we're leveraging technology to advance the, I would say, efficiency of how we do things nowadays. So really excited about that.
Thanks for that peek. I'm a fan too of technology. I think it will help solve the carbon side of things and our climate issue. We got a lot of work to do, a lot of new construction buildings to try to get not just silver, but up towards platinum or net zero or maybe living building, right? Regenerative design. But retrofits, we've been able to travel a little bit internationally with some of the work we do. And I'm excited to see that there's also, even in developing countries, mandates for greening of existing building stock too. So a lot of work to do, but I think technology will help. So let's talk about the industry, guys. Real quick, where have you seen it evolve since you've really made your green building careers? And then how about one more peek looking ahead? Hey, what's something you're excited about? You definitely think's coming at us in the future of the green building movement.
When I joined the industry, sustainability really was just a buzzword. The career path of green buildings really wasn't there yet. There were LEED projects and the industry was moving in that direction, but hadn't really taken the same sort of market hold that it has now. So it's been really interesting to see it grow. I joined this industry when LEED was in like version 2.0. So I've seen it go from 2.0 to 2.1 to 2.2 to version 3 in 2009, then version 4. And now we're concurrently running version 4 and version 4.1 with LEED version 5 being released in beta. So it's been, 4 or 5 different versions of LEED now. So just really fascinating to see the LEED specifically just grow and evolve and what's important in the evolution of the program. I think we're seeing a lot of renewed focus on health and wellness with certainly third-party certifications around health and wellness, like a WELL or a FitWell certification. But especially post-pandemic, everyone is really understanding that there is value in having good air quality and proper ventilation and cleanliness, cleaning and sanitization, and buildings not just being designed and built and operated to be better for the environment, but people spend 90% of their time indoors. Buildings really do need to support human health and wellness and prosperity. I think what we're going to see, and we're starting to see this now, and sort of the peak maybe in the next, say, 3 to 5 years, is the furthering of a lot of these ESG goals. Again, 80% of investors are intending to incorporate ESG into their investment strategy. So we're really going to start seeing ESG goals propagate, and we'll start to see this in sustainability programs and certification programs. We're going to start seeing sustainability be incorporated into projects or building types that maybe wouldn't have considered it before, or it wasn't normally part of that particular industry. One we've seen just in the last, maybe 18 to 24 months is industrial projects. We're seeing a lot of influx into sustainability metrics for industrial and certainly multifamily as well.
Nick, how about you? Where have you seen the industry evolve since you've been in it? And then a look ahead. What's something else you're excited about in the future?
In terms of how has the field of sustainability evolved over the years, I would say early on, there was a big emphasis on building efficiency and materials. I think that emphasis has shifted, with the primary focus really being in kind of finding the harmony between the built environment and human health. The pandemic really reinforced that concept and really bringing forward the importance of indoor air quality and the human experience in a building. So I really do believe that technology will have a major impact on how we track that, how we improve buildings in the long term, and how we visualize buildings, like I mentioned before. We really need to focus on our local communities. A lot of what we do is try to get buy-in for why it's so important to care for the environment, care about the climate crisis and all these things. So what do we have in common? And I think we all care about our family. We all care about the food that we eat, the air that we breathe, the water that we drink. But I think when you look at those fundamental kind of values, you can then start caring about why the environment plays a big role in those key things that keep us alive and keep us caring for our families. So if we can focus on helping our local communities and get that buy-in, from people that may have different opinions from ourselves, right? It's good to listen, to have conversation. That's how you really get through to the other person. Why it's important that they have clean drinking water and fresh air to that's not polluted, being able to swim on a beach that doesn't have plastic in it, just like the basics, the basic concepts of sustainability. Then you can start looking at the worldwide picture and the climate crisis and what we all need to do together. So I think that's really important for us in the next decade, right? Is to come together at a fundamental level and grow from there.
I love it. Where do you guys go to learn about what's going on in the green movement, the healthy building movement, or where do you go see what's next?
I find that I learn the best from other people. I really enjoy getting out and meeting people and specifically speaking with experts on particular topics. I really enjoy learning from others who are specifically dedicating their careers in a specific area of expertise. Panel conversations at conferences, meeting folks at networking events. I find that I actually learn quite a bit and get a lot of information from just meeting people and having casual conversations in networking scenarios.
Love it. I know you do a lot there with your local USGBC chapter, lots of conferences, some you speak at, some you attend, and network and learn. I love that, Asa. How about you, Nick? Any tips here?
Yeah, for me, it's very important to network and stay connected with people. The best way I found to do that, and I've been fortunate to be able to do that, is through traveling around the world, different conferences. I know Charlie, you and I were at GBCI Circle earlier this year in Barcelona, which was an exceptional conference, kind of the green build of Europe, you might say. And it's great to just pick the brains of these business leaders from different industries and from different companies and seeing what new ideas and technologies are out there. That's straight to the source. And Green Build is an excellent way to, go to the expos and really engage with a lot of these companies that are out there talking about products and different technologies. Another thing that I try to do, it's where do you get your news from? I think I try to source independent news from online and different areas. And that helps me really not only stay up to date about sustainability, but just around geopolitics. What's happening around the world that might affect our industry? What are the different areas that we need to be mindful of and share with our clients as they come about? I think whether it's EU policy, right, like taxonomy, or the Inflation Reduction Act, just knowing what we need to stay ahead of to inform our clients and help contribute back.
Yeah, that was some good paella in Rioja. So we'll all have to go back there. I got to echo what both of these guys said. Both of these lead fellows, Asa and Nick, people, right? Because one day, especially if you want to apply to get and be nominated for your lead fellow, you need people to go to bat for you. You literally have to have other professionals that will write detailed letters on your behalf and see if you can make the cut. But along the way, it's sharing intel, sharing encouragement, right? I think that's very important for just human nature, but especially when you're in an industry that's mission driven and we really want to make change and we need that encouragement that we are making progress. I believe now we're one of the only companies in the world that has 3 or more lead fellows. Yeah, there may be about 4 companies, and it's just what an exclusive group here. Hope you guys feel it's validating on the career and all the buildings you've worked on and all the people you've inspired and also taught classes to. And for those listening that don't know Asa and Nick, I want to give you a super quick anecdote about their character. As a company, we use Slack. And when this announcement came out recently, it was posted. Everyone's giving high fives and all kinds of emojis and congrats. But both of these guys, the first thing they said is, hey, thank you for helping me earn this. And I can't wait for you to get yours, because there's an incredible team of subject matter experts between SIG and GBS. And so proud of you guys for even how you acted in the moment. And congratulations on your lead fellow status.